In this lesson, I'm going to give you 3 tips if you were just beginning guitar, things that I would start off with right away to get you playing. So the first tip, start off with just 4 chords. The G, the C, the D, and the E minor. And I don't just mean random G chord like a G major, or learn this C major, or learn this D major, or this E minor. That's way too much movement. That's way too much movement with your left hand. It's gonna make changing the chords very challenging when you're trying to strum. So what I would recommend is learn the ones that I teach, and I'm gonna show you up here on the screen. So really for these chords, we're gonna keep our ring finger and pinky finger locked in on those 2 strings, the 2 bottom strings on fret number 3. From there, we only have to move 2 fingers to get to those 4 chords. So right here, this is the G. This is the good old G chord. If we want to play that C chord, all we have to do, move the middle finger and the ring and the pointer finger down 1 string each. Boom. There's your C chord. If you want to get to this D chord, just take the middle finger off, move the pointer finger down 1 string. There you have your D. If you wanted to play that E minor, you're still keeping these 2 fingers locked in there. You're just bringing these 2 fingers up to the 2nd fret. So I've got some lessons on these chords. I go much more in depth. I'll link those up top, and then I'll also link those in the video description. The second tip is you have to be strumming the right strings. So you could have all of these chords done perfectly. You have the string held down with your finger. You have your fingers in the right place, but it might sound like this. And that's just not good. That's not what we want to hear. And the reason why is this chord here, as we just went over, is a D chord. So the bass note, the root note of the D chord is the D string, the 3rd one from the top. So really, we just want to be strumming those bottom 4 strings for the D chord. We don't want to be strumming the top 2 because it's not good. Same thing with the C chord. So our bass note, our root note for the C chord is the 3rd fret here, middle finger on the A string. So we want to be strumming the strings, the bottom 5 strings. We don't want to be strumming this top one, otherwise you're going to hear this. And that's just, again, that's going to be very frustrating because you could have your fingers in the perfect place. You have each string held down perfectly, but you're strumming the wrong strings, which makes it sound very bad. So make sure you're strumming the right strings. I go through a lesson on this. I'll include it up here. I'll include it in the video description. And then the third place I would start is with strumming, and that's giving you some strumming tips. So I go through a bunch of different strumming tips on my YouTube channel, but just to give you just a brief summary, first and foremost, strumming is very challenging. What I would recommend is getting a very thin pick. So if you're a beginner, get a very thin pick, one that has a lot of give, because it's going to allow for more margin for error, more room for error. So if you have a thick pick, if you're using a thick pick, it's going to make strumming much more challenging, and you're going to lose your pick in this hole here more times than you would want. So start off with a thin pick. It lets you kind of glide the pick down the strings, has a lot of room for error and a lot of give, which is what you want when you're just starting because you don't know how to really strum very well. The second brief tip on strumming is you have to angle the pick. When you're going down, you angle the pick down. And when you angle the pick, when you up strum, you angle the pick up. If you keep it, so on our down strums, if we strum like this and we keep our pick at this angle, there's no possible way we can do an up strum. We have to turn our hand a little bit and angle the pick. So I go through a bunch of these different tips in my strumming series on my channel. So what I would do using these 3 tips, I would pick 3 to 4 worship songs that you really, really love, you're really, really passionate about, you love worshiping to, and start learning those songs, incorporating in these 3 different tips. So if we're learning something that we're passionate about, you know, if you have 2 or 3 or 4 worship songs you're really passionate about learning, you're more inclined to stay motivated to learn them, right? So I would pick 3 to 4 worship songs. Make sure somebody has a tutorial on them, whether it's me or someone else on YouTube. And I would definitely start there. If you look on my channel, you've got tons of songs with 4 chords, with 3 chords. Many of them are just using those chords that we went over. So this would be a great place to start if you are just beginning guitar. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Leave a comment and I'll be happy to help you out.